Guys, I'm just gonna be super honest. I've shot this video about 10 times. And the reason I've shot the video so many times is because I've been so focused on getting things right. Like the lighting correct, or there's shadows in the background, or music that I just wanted to, should I add this music, should I do this, should I do that, and people calling, and then sounds, and I want to check the mics, I want to make sure I wanted to make sure everything is perfect. And I realized, this is not what I'm here for. I'm here to be very transparent. I'm here to be very open. I'm here to be the most transparent about a topic that people don't really want to talk about, and that is debt. This video, this series is about your financial wake-up call from my money mistakes. If you don't know who I am, my name is Samuel Speaks. In 2014, I came out with my first ever video. It landed on YouTube. It was about motivation. It was about inspiring. It was great. It was so good that I ended up speaking in venues. And then I got asked to speak abroad. And that was so good that when I got back, I did more videos and they were going well. And people were starting to comment. And I was getting invited to more events. And then 2019 came. And in 2019, I did my first event. I was 30 years old. I turned 30. I said I want 30 people in the room. 50 people came. I was so excited. I was elated. I was all over the place. And then I said, summer 2019, I want to beat that. We got to get 100 people into a room. And I said to myself, I don't even know, the 50 people, that may have been fluke. And I was like, 100 people. And anyway, summer 2019, we got 100 people in a room in a small theater. It was a phenomenal experience. Then COVID hit. And COVID was one of those things that caught me off guard. And I know a lot of people will say, yeah, but it caught me off guard too. But I mean in the sense of I thought that I made it. I thought at 2019 when the summer hit and I'd done that fun, I was like, I've made it. And COVID was a reality check for me. I don't know if it was a reality check for anyone else. If it was a reality check for you, comment in the chat box and let me know. But for me, COVID was a reality check, all right? And what happened was I realized during COVID that I was in a situation financially that was not great. I was a part of all these different projects that I was putting money into and money was being made, but I was spending that money irresponsibly. And one thing I want to say is if you're irresponsible with money, it will show in somewhere along the line in your life. Somewhere your irresponsibility with money will show up. Is it the shoes that you're wearing? Is it the clothes that you're wearing? Is it the food that you're eating? Is it the car that you're driving? Is it the friendship circles that you're in? Is it the restaurants that you're eating in? It will show up somewhere. Is it the letters that are coming to your house? Whatever way it shows up, if you're irresponsible with money, money will turn up and knock on your door and say, oh, you're irresponsible with money? Cool. I'm going to show you what happens with people who are irresponsible. I was irresponsible and money showed me. And what was happening was every time I was getting paid, it was getting to the end of the month, I would pay off these debts, I would pay off my bills, and I wouldn't have any money to play with. And the thing is, I could wear all these fancy clothes, I could drive all these fancy cars, I could go to Dubai and, do all these fancy things, and everyone would think that I look the part and that money's coming in and everything's flowing. But the reality was there was a virus in the background of my life, and that virus was called debt, and it was eating away at me. And a lot of people, tons of people will shy away from it. But this series is your financial wake-up call from my money mistakes. And I am going to be so transparent with my financial journey. I'm going to show you it's from debt to ownership. Yes, I am currently in debt. And yes, I will be getting out of debt. And everything we move on to will be ownership. All right. So this series is about you seeing every single month how I am getting rid of my debt. I was inspired by a gentleman called Dave Ramsey. And I was also inspired by a lady called Monet. Monet Money is a page. I will throw it somewhere up on the screen. But Dave Ramsey has this thing called the debt snowball method. Now, I know there's the avalanche method as well, but the debt snowball works for me. And I'll do a video on them both and the differences later on down the line. But for me, the debt snowball in simple terms is this. You list your debts from smallest to largest. You pay the minimum on them all and you attack that first debt, that smallest one first. When you get rid of that smallest one, you take that minimum payment and you add it to the next debt that you got. And now the snowball is starting to build and you do it so on and so forth. So every time you clear a debt, you add that minimum payment to the next debt. And now you've created this snowball that starts to build and build and build. And one day you grab this giant snowball and you just throw it at your debt. I wonder if I can throw a snowball at the screen. I'm not editor, but let's see what happens. So that's what I'm following. And what I'm going to go through in this video is my debt-free journey. I scope to do it within the next 18 to 24 months. And a lot of people may look at my debt and say, oh, you could get that done sooner. Everyone's scenario is different. Everyone's income is different. Everyone's financial circumstances and responsibilities are different. So I don't want to hear want to hear what anyone has to say. This is a journey that we're all on to be excited about getting out of debt. It's not about bashing anyone. It's not about me being better than anyone. It is about me hoping to inspire someone to make a change today. Okay, so let's kind of go through, and if you see me looking to the left, it's because I've got the debts and stuff on the screen. I want to go through my debts. I'm not going to list them smallest to largest. I'll do that later with some animation, hopefully. But I'm going to name them in the story, in the way that they came about. Now, I was in worse debt than I am now, all right? I was actually in way more debt than I am now. But over time, I managed to get responsible, and then I got irresponsible again. And that's why I'm doing this, because enough's enough, all right? There comes a time where you have to say, debt, enough is enough. You are going, and I'm going to live a different life. And that's where I'm at today, all right? So the first thing I had was a Capital One card. This had a 5K limit on it. Crazy. And the 5K limit on it, this was at a period of time where my credit was ridiculously high. All right, so the 5K limit on it. And the reason I got the credit card was because I didn't have no liquid cash. I was spending all the money I made. I was irresponsible with it. I was blowing it here. I was doing this. I was doing that. So I didn't have liquid cash for when I moved out of my mom's. So when I moved into my place and I needed all these different things, by the way, this is a side note. If you live at home with your parents, I don't care how old you are, as long as you've got inspirations to maybe buy something or live somewhere else, then just stay there, but save, 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 save. Don't do what I did, which is not see the advantages of saving while at your parents'. What I was doing was the opposite, which is probably why I'm in this. No, it's why I'm in this mess. It's because I was spending money, BMF, blowing money fast. Like, you can get money. Oh, I'm going to buy this. Do you know what I mean? It was ridiculous. Like, my name was Oprah. But anyway, so I got that card and I had to start buying stuff. And then I started spending things on it. And then I started paying the minimum payment and then buying stuff. And I'm really going to speak about a lot of stuff on this channel. And I'll talk about credit utilization and all those little things about, having a good credit score and stuff. We'll get into that. But I ran up that credit card to 5K, you lot. I ain't even going to lie. I'm not even going to lie. I ran it up. And when I ran it up, and I was trying to make payments, I was like, yo, the money weren't money. The income weren't incoming, It was a struggle. So I said, okay, cool. The smartest thing I'm going to do is get another card. So that card's got 5K limit, and I'll go through the numbers later. But that card had a 5K limit, and I'm already at 5K in debt, all right? So I got another card, because what they do, I don't want no one to cut down my channel, so I'm not going to say who, but what people do out there is they send you all these emails. Why don't you try and do this? Why don't you try and do that? Why don't you debt consolidate? Or why don't you try and use a balance transfer card, which seemed like a great idea to me. Why don't you use a balance transfer card and transfer your balance to a card that has like 0% on it? And I was like, well, that makes sense. It's 0% up for a year. I'm going to get rid of the card by then. And then I'm going to be able to, spend on that card or close that card down. And then that means I would have half my debt. But guess what? If you are irresponsible with the small amount you have, you will be irresponsible with even more. Yeah, if you're in the Bible, it says somewhere, if you handle the few, you'll be blessed with much. Well, I was given more debt. You know why? Because I didn't handle the small amount of debt that I was given. I just kept getting myself in more debt. So I balance transferred. That card was 2K. I balance transferred 2K over. Guess what? I started paying towards it. I started paying towards it, and it was great. And I put large sums to it because, tax rebates and all these different little monies came around that I was owed and all these different things. And the card went down to like £1,000. Then I started using the card. And because the Capital One card was quite low as well, I started using that again. So now we're in debt and we're continuing to use the debt even more. So that's why I got that card, guys. And I'm going to go through the figures anyway. And then the final one, I said, enough's enough. Like, every time I was getting paid, I'll say like 80% of my pay was going to debt. 80%, guys. The 20% was hardly anything. It was hardly anything. So surviving was crazy. But I decided, okay, enough's enough. Why don't I just consolidate my debts into one loan and have everything go into that one loan? That way, the payments will be smaller. It'll be over a longer period of time. And I'll be cooled. Interest will be a little bit higher because my credit's awful now. So I was like, let me do that. Guess what? That was another poor money decision. It was another poor decision. Why? Because even though I consolidated all the debts, did I close those cards? No. So now I've got I can't remember the figures off the top of my head, but I'll tell you what's left on that debt, and that on that debt is £2,133.36. All right. On the Virgin Money credit card, there is £1,996.74. And on the Capital One card, there is £4,057.40. Someone will say, but I thought you consolidated all your debt. Yeah, that is what I done. But guess what? I was stupid and I was still spending on those cards. I really want to speak to someone and encourage someone and say this. There comes a time, just like me, where you say, enough is enough. Quick commercial break there. There comes a time where you just say, enough is enough. And that time for enough is now. Like, I'm not doing this debt-free journey just for me. I'm doing it so you can see what happens when someone takes charge and says, enough is enough, debt no more. I am going to clear this debt. I am going to change my life. And then I'm going to go from debt to now start owning things and doing and handling money the correct way. In the comments, guys, write down for me in the comments if any of this stood out to you. If there's anyone going through debt, you don't need to write your debt, but just write how you're feeling. I was feeling low. I'm going to be so transparent. Like, I don't care what anyone thinks about my financial situation because I know me. And for everyone that knows me, you know me. When I set myself a goal, I get it done. When I set myself a target, I get it done. Like, I'm sick and tired now of buying nice clothes, buying nice cars, buying all these things on credit, buying all these things on finance, but then not having the money to even tithe in my church. Like, not even having the money to pay tithes in church. There was a time that a tithe envelope came to me. All I had was £1 in my pocket. I was so embarrassed that I put the £1 in there. I folded it up as if there was notes in there. This debt thing isn't a joke, guys. And it's time that we get out of it. So my combined total of debt is £8,187.50. And someone may look at that and say, but that debt's nothing. Debt is debt, guys. And it is all relevant to everyone's situation. My financial situation in terms of my income and stuff like that is totally different to other people's. I don't care if your debt is 50,000. I don't care if your debt is 20,000. I don't care if your debt is 1,000. I don't care if your debt is 100. Debt is debt. And if it is crippling you and if it is holding you down, it is time to make a change. It's as simple as that. There is no other way to sugarcoat it. There's no other way to go around it. If you are ready to get out of debt, it is time to make a change, and your time to make that change is now. All right, so I'm going to break it down. So the smallest debt, Virgin Money, is £1,996.74. So that will be the first one that we go after. The second debt is Pilato loan. That is £2,133.36. That's going to pop up as well. And then the final one is £4,057.40. And that brings me to a combined total of £8,187.50. Now, I am not a financial advisor. That is the biggest disclaimer. If you want to do anything you want to do with your debts, please go and seek financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I am doing this for edutainment only. I'm doing this so that you can see what's possible when you get focused and when you put your mind to getting rid of something. I'm done with the virus controlling my life. I'm done with it controlling people around me. I'm done with it controlling you guys across the world. I don't know where you are. I'm done now. The time is over. The time is over of being in debt. It's time for us to get out of debt. So guys, stay tuned. I'm going to drop one of these videos, a new one, every single month for you to see an update of my financial situation. And surrounding those videos will be other things as well, and other videos and other facts and figures that come out. And together, guys, this is not just me on this journey. This is us. For anyone in debt, I am going to be a voice that speaks out and shows you and says to you, you can get out of debt. All right? I don't know how people sign up. How should I sign up? I don't know. How should I sign up?